Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video will be about this basket gown that is what we are going to be making today. And our fabric, our pattern paper will be folded into full, so we are into two, so we are not doing with just one pattern paper, because this paper is what we are going to be using as to guide us for the whole process of making this style. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is to place my tape at this beginning, at the first line we mark the beginning, the starting point, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark the length of my gown. As you can see that I joined the pattern paper because it was not up to the length of the gown, so I joined it before marking, and then I'm adding just 1 inch allowance for the hemming, and then for the shoulder just 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the line, and the folding that you're going to be doing is your hip measurement divided by 4 plus your allowance, and then for ease I added 1 inch for ease. That's in your hip divided by 4 plus about 3 inches. So the first thing I marked is my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I added ½ inch allowance for joining. And then for my shoulders line, I'm supposed to go down by 10 inches for my bust point, because it's not going to be free. But for now I marked at 8 inches, which I'm going to be correcting later on. So what you're going to be marking is, I marked at 8 inches. That's your normal bust measurement plus 1.5 inches for ease. And then for the neckline, okay, we are marking the back bodice first. So for my back neckline, I went down by 1.5 inches for the width, and then for the length, sorry, and then the width is 3 inches. So we are marking the back bodice first, just like I said before. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and I'll connect it to my neckline. So we're going to go ahead and insert every other measurement, then still placing my tape at the beginning of the measurement. I am going to go ahead, and mark my bust points, just like I mentioned that I'm supposed to mark at 10 inches, and I made the mistake of marking at 8 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and remark it, and then after that I'm going to go ahead and mark my waist measurement, which is at 16 inches, which is at 19 inches. If I just mark your measurements at this, now I can't remember what I marked basically. And then I marked my hip point as well. I think my hip point is at 26 inches. While I was marking, I was with the measurement book, so I know what I was marking. So just go ahead and insert every of your measurement that you took before your process, so that I don't mix my measurements up while trying to say it out. So at my bust point, I'm going to go ahead and take my bust measurement divided by 4. I'll make a point there, and then we are going to go ahead and connect our armhole. Then I'm going to be adding 1 inch stitching allowance, 1 inch for ease, and then I'm going to be adding 1.5 inches stitching allowance. You don't need too much stitching allowance. In fact, I had to reduce it by ½ inch after marking, because I don't think I needed that allowance. Then I also inserted my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease, and then for my stitching allowance. And at my hip area, I did the same thing, hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch allowance for ease, and then for my stitching allowance. So this hip measurement is going to be extending straight to the hem, but every other side we're going to go ahead and connect it the way it's supposed to be. So you can see that it's more like it's in a straight form. Because that's how my own measurement is. So don't mind the way it is, just insert your measurement. Your own might be more curvy than mine. So that's it for the back bodice. You're going to go ahead and mark this front one as well. If you haven't subscribed up to this moment, please take 1 minute and join this growing family. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share my videos to family and friends. So So we're going to go ahead and mark the front bodies, and you can see no zipper allowance or button allowance. So we're going to go ahead and trace out and mark out the measurement for the front one. And for the front one, I wanted to take out 1/2 inch from the armhole, so I'm going to measure this armhole and then make a mark there. From that mark, we're going to be taking 1/2 of an inch there by the time we want to mark it. So I'm just making a point there so that I will know where to take out that 0.5 inch that we talked about. Then we're going to go ahead and connect it to the armhole. And I also marked my neckline straight in the starting point straight so that I'll be able to mark the front neckline. So for the front neckline, I am taking 3 inches for the width, so I'll also trace out the neck width so that by the time I take out the back bodice, I'll be able to cover out my front neckline. I just hope you understand what I am trying to do in all this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out, the front bodice out. Once I am done, I will take out the back bodice and then cut out my my neckline. I'm just making sure that the neck width is the same with the front. And I also take out the 0.5 inch dimension for the armhole. I'll connect it and then cut it out. And I also open it up because the front bodice will be open at the center, at the front center front. So this is it after I was done. So we are going to go ahead and mark all the lines that we needed for the style. For this, I am marking at 2.5 inches. For that, a space of 2.5 inches. From the beginning, I'll mark 2.5 inches, and then from there I'll mark another 2.5. So I'm marking 2.5 inches all around. And once I am done with it, I'm going to be using my ruler to connect all these points that I am making. I hope you understand this. If you want the space to be smaller than mine, go ahead and reduce it. You can mark 2.2 inches or 1.5 inches. If you want yours to be wider than mine, you can mark 3 inches, and so it depends on how wide you want it to be. So I'll go ahead and connect all these points that I just made from the beginning to the end. So once I am done with this, I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the other line. For the horizontal line, I'm going to mark the vertical line as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start marking. I am marking for this at 2 inches. So I'll mark it across and I'll keep marking till I get to the end. I'll do the same thing for every other pieces that I have, that's the 2 front and then the back. So for my fabric stripe, I have, for the width of it, I have 2 inches, and then for the length is as long as you need it. So I'm going to fold in the 2 sides and then fold it at the center. Once I am done with it, I'll place it at my paper and then stitch it all the way down till I get to the hem. Once I get to the hem, I'll cut it off and then do the other ones until I am done with it, and then I'll mark across just like I did the marking. I'm going to also stitch it across. So we are going to go ahead and cut the sleeve, and for the sleeve cap, I'm going down by 5 inches and I'll mark a line there. And once I am done with this, at that point I'm going to be marking my my round sleeve measurement divided by 2, and then I'll add 1 inch for ease, and then add my stitching allowance. At the beginning of my sleeve cap, I'm going in by 4 inches, and then I'll mark a straight line. So I'm going to measure this point, and just like we marked is 5 inches, and then I'll divide it into 2 and make a point there. So I'm going to be connecting from the beginning to that place, and then to the end of the sleeve. Just look at the way I am placing my French curl. That's how we are going to mark it. See, once I mark the first one, I flipped it over and I marked the other one. So this is our sleeves. I'm going to go ahead and mark the length of my sleeve, which is 16 inches. And this pattern is also folded into 2. You are going to be folding it into 2, just like I mentioned. You are going to be using for the whole of this style. So I added 1 inch as stitching allowance, and then I'm going to mark this straight. So you're not going to curve it to be a fitted sleeve. You can see the way I marked it straight. That's how it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. Then I'll duplicate this to have 2 sleeves. So I'm going to go ahead and mark our lines that we are going to be using to stitch this. And for this, I'm marking 2 inches. So I'll be marking 2 inches all the way. Once I mark the 2 inches, I'll mark a straight line, and then from there I'll measure another 2 inches and then make a point and before connecting it. Then I did the same thing. Once I was done marking it, I crossed it over, and then just like I did for the bodice, I went ahead to use my fabric also to stitch all the way around. So this is all the bodice and also my sleeve. I am done with it. In fact, if you get to this point, I need to give you a cold water to drink, because it was not an easy job. So I'm going to go ahead and do front facing front for this, and then I'm going to stitch it down. Just make sure that while stitching that all your lines are matching, so that it will stay in place. So once I am done with it, you can see I'm just taking out my pins, and then we are going to go ahead and work on our sleeve. In fact, this process is where the work is. In fact, the whole of the style is where the work is. How much do you think is okay to charge for this style? Please leave it in the comment section. How much you think is okay to charge for this style? So I'm going to go ahead and start placing my sleeve, and I'll stitch it all the way to the end. And this is it. After I was done stitching my sleeve, we are going to go ahead and work on the same side. At this point, you have to be a lot patient that you normally have, because it's now becoming, should I say, bulky, and if you're not careful, the patterns are going to tear, and that pattern is what is going to guide you to complete this style. So I'm going to go ahead and arrange this properly, and once I am done arranging it, I'm going to be stitching. You see my is already torn. I'm going to tape it down with my sellotape. So I'm going to go ahead and then hem it. But before hemming it, remember to pipe your sleeve before you do this one. I've already piped my sleeve, and I'll show you guys how to pipe yours as we are ending the video. In a few minutes, I'm going to show you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this down, and making sure that all my fabric stripes are matching at the appropriate places, and then I will stitch it from one side to the other. So I pinned it offline before stitching, so that is a lot easier for me. So this is it after stitching it down, and I flipped it to the right side so that you guys can see what it looks like. So this is it. We're going to go ahead and work on the hemming place. You can see I've hemmed my neckline and then the center front. It is remaining just the hemming side. I've piped my neckline, sorry, and my center front, you can see, and also my sleeve. So it's remaining the hemming side, which I'm going to show you guys how to go about it. So you're going to bring your fabric stripe and then place it front of this fabric facing the back of the gown. You're going to go ahead and stitch it all the way. You can see that I have a little bit of excess at the beginning of it. I'm going to show you guys what to do with it. So once you stitch from one end to the other, you will turn it to the other side and then fold in that excess before folding about ½ inch, and then fold again. Just pay attention, you will get what I am doing. So the reason for leaving that excess is so that by the time you fold it in, that place is well secured and neat. So that's all for this style. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you find help in it. It's a whole lot of work to do, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next video. Do not mind the outfit I am wearing inside. I was just wanted to show you guys how it came out and not really what I'm going to wear for it, and it's not mine as well. I will see you in my next video. Bye.